Hi, I'm Leanne Ely. I'm a nutritionist, a New York Times best-selling author, and some people even say I'm a life coach. I started the Daily Dish Show to share my story, my truth, and my journey to vibrancy, and to inspire others to do the same. Because it's all about grit, perseverance, and finding a way despite the odds. It's about embracing the whole woman, not just the parts that are easy to love, and feeding her heart, mind, body, and soul. But I found that this isn't just my story, it's your story too. It's go time. This is the Daily Dish. Well, hello and welcome. Guess what today is? It's Tuesday, and that means you're here. Hello, Catherine. It's so good to have you here. Are you excited about today's show? I hope so, because today's show is kind of what's the word I'm looking for? And a little bit of anomaly. I did not have time to put together the normal show that I normally put together. Hello, Lisa. But what I have is something that's from my journal and something that I have been ruminating, because this is possibly the seed for what we're going to be doing this summer if Full Bloom comes to become Full Bloom, if we do Full Bloom in person. Hello there, Helen. Lisa is here, of course, too. Look at this. Amber is in the house, by the way. Amber is doing the show today. Our Jenny's on the road, so keep her in prayer as she is driving. We want to keep her safe, right? And we always appreciate the little extra love that you give our entire staff and me. I'm grateful. So anyway, today I'm going to take you on a little bit of a journey inside of my journal. I'm going to pull that sucker out and let you let you read a little bit about it. And this again is the seed to what I'm working on for a few different things. I have a speaking thing coming up in September, and that's also going to be a part of it. So are you ready to kind of feel a little bit of it? I hope so. Lynn is here, and Mary, my goodness, I haven't seen you in a while. It's so nice to have you here. Let's see. The other thing that you need to know is that I have a special deal for you. It's just not here yet. Okay? We are having some tech issues with it, but I just want to put a pin in it and let you know to watch your email, because this is a deal you're not going to want to miss out on. I'm serious. So just watch. I promise you coming. The email is sitting in our email server waiting to hit send. As soon as we get that little glitchy thing worked out, it'll be on your table as long as supplies last, of course. Erica, hello. Good to have you here. So anyway, I've already alluded to the fact that today's show is just a teeny bit different. So I hope you can bear with me a little bit. I hope it stays kind of cohesive and on topic, but this is close to my heart. It's something I have been working on myself, and I want to share it with you. Okay? How's that? All right, let's start. Well, first of all, let's talk about the quote of the week, which will boom, light you up. And I love this quote. Abraham Lincoln said this, and that is the best way to predict your future is to create it. And that is something that has very much come into my peripheral and into my journal and into this mission and this idea of creating, manifesting, being a part of, and being very proactive and pursuing exactly the thing is that we want to pursue. We've talked about this before. We've talked about how we get in this place sometimes with this creativity of wanting to create this life that we want, and how we get caught up in focusing on the wrong things, focusing on the problem as opposed to the solution, focusing on people as opposed to taking responsibility for ourselves and what it is that we can figure out and take a hold of. So I'm going to read something to you, And then I'm also going to share some notes that I made for today, and we're going to connect all of it. Okay. Oh my goodness. I did not know you had hip surgery, Lynn. I know it went just stellar. And I know you're doubling down on your collagen, aren't you? Got it. Now, when we double down on that, it just gives our body the extra healing that we need. So if you're going through any kind of a healing situation, be really proactive on your healing protocol. You support perfect paleo protein ×2 soup, bone broth soup. And your doctor will be amazed. Your doctor will say, how did you heal so fast? I've had that happen before, but yeah, that's what it's about. All right, so I'm going to give you this as the theme for this year's full bloom, and we're either going to do it in person or it's going to be virtual. I'm hoping in person. It'll be in July. Haven't gotten a date yet, but we are working on that as a team right now. All right, and that is becoming the woman of your own dreams. And I wrote in my journal, this was earlier this week, or last week rather, what can I do today to become the woman of my own dreams? The woman of my own dreams is pulled together. She's fit, strong, and energetic. She's unapologetic, opinionated, and knows her worth. She's courageous, brave, curious, and not afraid to try new things. She's connected, loved, loving, happy, and sees the world as a place of opportunity. I did this because for me, this is setting the table of what my expectations need to be and how I need to be viewing the world. The lens that I see the world needs to be through this filter. Because when we get into this place of losing ourselves in our problems, then we become an additional part of the problem, right? And I'm showing you this because this is how we set the table in anticipation of who we want to be and what the meal is going to be about. If you're setting the table for brunch versus setting the table for dinner, it's going to be two different ways. You're going to probably, you have a formal dinner, say, you're going to have forks all over the place. You know, you're going to pull out the good china. You'll have the linens and all of that versus a formal brunch in your backyard. You know, they're going to have paper plates and what have you. It's a whole different thing. So our focus has to be on exactly what it is that we want. When we see ourselves in our mind's eye, when we see what the words that are coming out of our mouths, etc., the whole thing. You know, when I take Lincoln for his daily walk, there's a big berm up by the dam where, you know, part of our lake, all of our lakes are man-made here, but they're very beautiful lakes and it's fun, you know, take the dog up there. And when we go up there, that's where I throw the ball up and down the hill so he gets a ton of exercise. But as he is going up and down the hill, I'm pacing back and forth and I'm practicing my speech because I have an opportunity for a TEDx talk, letting you know. So I'm just putting it out there. Keep that in prayer, would you? Because I really want that to all come together. But I am practicing it, I'm giving it, and it's about becoming the woman of your own dreams. It's about being in full bloom, no matter what your age. It's about getting a hold and holding on to all the vibrancy that is yours to hold on to. Because we are offered such an abundant life if only we would seek it. Because have you noticed that when you seek something, that's the thing that starts to come to you? You know this if you've been out there trying to buy a car, you know? Suddenly you see on the road all these different cars that are exact car and model that you want, sometimes even the same color, and you just kind of go, oh, there it is. It's not that it wasn't ever there before. You haven't just thrown it out there into the world to say, hey, this is what I want to have. This is what I want to be. I believe as we do this, that we are connecting with our creator and co-creating the life that we want if we stay connected to that. When we disconnect and we start going into the negative stuff, then we lose our sense of who it is that we could become. And the woman of our dreams is more than the woman who we are right now. We can start to see these things come into play. We can start to see these things come into reality. And, when we do this, when we start putting these things out there, it gets so exciting because our lives suddenly become contextual. Like, this happened for a reason. Now I get why I was in this place. I always say this, Patsy, Jackie, I don't care that you're late. I'm glad that you're here, both of you. But I always say this, and I mean this with all of my heart, even the garbage that has happened in my life, and I've had plenty. I'm not going to lie about it. It hasn't been this big bowl of cherries, but everything has had a reason and has given me opportunity to become a next level version of myself. Okay? So tuck that into your hat right now. Alice is late too. It's not like you're going to be punished, Alice, or Patsy or Jackie. I'm just glad you're here. But this table that we're setting in anticipation of who we are to become is all contingent on what we're putting on that table, right? Is it the casual brunch in the backyard with the paper plates, or is it something to do with the formal dinner that we're setting up for? Because they're two very different things. And we get to choose how it is that we're going to entertain and what we're going to entertain in our heads and what we're going to entertain with the words that are coming out of our mouths, the visions that we see in our heads, the conversations that we run over and over again, and how we speak to ourselves. This is the thing that sets it all up. This is the thing that decides what the table is going to be about and sets it up for exactly that. And that hit me. I mean, we've talked about this, but it hit me because the things sometimes that come out are not the things that I want at all. Hi, Autumn. The things that I want are very specific, are very not just to me, but to my family, to my community, to my friends, to you. And I see the good, I see the extended good that it can do, and how with this new lens that I'm talking about all the time, being in full bloom is the way for us to get there. It is a definite path. But there are things that hold us back. And today, I'm telling you, sometimes this whole coincidental thing makes things a little bit different, right? Because when the quote of the week, the best way to predict your future is to create it, hit me as I was thinking about creating and becoming the woman of your own dreams. What does she look like? What is she about? What are these things? And this is, what I just read to you, what I pulled from my journal. But there are impediments that get in the way. And I'm telling you, this came across my path as I was thinking about what are those impediments? How are they stopping us and holding us back from that life that we so eagerly want to pursue, right? And those of you who are in Recreate Your Life, and by the way, I couldn't believe how fast that sold out. And then we found one extra journal and that was gone within minutes. So those of you who are going to be on this is exactly what we're talking about, because that recreation of yourself is a becoming of who you want to be. We get to do that work, right? And it is work, but it is joyful work because we get to lean into this beauty of creation. Creation. What was once a piece of clay is now a beautiful bowl. What was once a seed is now a plant that's feeding people or giving people joy because they're smelling those beautiful flowers. That's creation. And we get to be a part of it. Not only do we get to be a part of it, our hands are going to guide us through every single step of the way. And if that doesn't excite you, then double check and see, is there a pulse there? Right? These are the women that we have been created to be. We're called to this earth on purpose and for purpose. Nobody is a biological mistake. Everybody is here for that reason. Isn't that interesting? Isn't it interesting? So there is something, though, before we go to set the table on anything, we need to make sure that we have the supplies, and we need to make sure that we're not setting it with the wrong stuff. So for me, as I'm looking at this, what are the impediments? What is the thing that's holding me back? What is that intangible that I just can't see? Because we're blind and biased to our own stuff. We all are. Of course we are. It's sort of a survival mechanism. But on the other hand, if we get caught in that, then we stay in that circular loop of it's getting better, it's getting better. Oh no, here comes something else. Down you go. I saw this. I thought to myself, I have to share it. Okay. And anyway, so here's a couple of things. And this is something that I actually did myself this week, because you know how it is. It's so easy to knee-jerk your way through this life. It's so easy to get touched, those buttons of ours, or triggered, or however you want to call it. But the thing is, there's always a choice about it. We can always decide we're not gonna be triggered. And anybody who lives in a situation where they're constantly triggered, not only are the people around you living on eggshells, but so are you. And what a tragedy that is, because that keeps us in that negative loop. It keeps us from breaking free from that garbage that's holding us back, so that we can step into that place of recreating our lives, of living in full bloom, of becoming the woman of our own dreams. And I can't even emphasize how important this is. And I've got like three big things that I've seen in my own life. And I'm going to ask you to take a good, sharp look at your own life and say, is this true for me too? Because if it's true, I promise you, it's a holder backer. You know, I don't know if that's such a word, but you understand what I'm saying, of course. And the first thing is that we need to learn to calm our own storms before we start venting to someone else about it. And do you know why? When we are going blah, 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 and somebody always says, oh, but you need to vent, you need to do this. And I just had to vent. You'll see that a lot in social and whatever. And it started to hit me that not only, if we understand this, the whole vibrational thing, remember we talked about vibrational plates, what's high vibe and what's low vibe, and emotions and the whole 9 yards. We've talked about all of that, right? Here's the deal, that when we are spewing all of this stuff and getting it all out, there's two things that we're not thinking about. One thing is, we are reinforcing the negative. And let me ask you a question. How's that helping with the solution? Is it? Or is it just more of the same? That's number one. And number two, we are dumping our garbage on somebody else's head. Now we're asking them to absorb our negativity about a problem. And so what is the answer to that? To me, is to stop and to think about it and to just ruminate a tiny little bit. You know, cows ruminate. You know how a cow is. They've got 5 stomachs, basically the rumen. And they chew on something, they swallow it, and they bring it back up, chew it again, swallow it, bring it back up. That is how our brains operate. We can go with the most primitive part of our brain, which is behind, right back here, or to the most sophisticated part, which is up here. That's our prefrontal cortex. That's where all the high level work is done. The high vibe emotions are right here. The prefrontal cortex, abstract thinking, contrast, seeing things from a different perspective, emotional intelligence lives here. But it doesn't happen immediately. It needs to process. So if we can, and you've heard me say this so many times, but I'm just saying this in a little different fashion, if we can pull the plug from the emotion for just a minute and think about it, analyze it, look at it, and see, what am I missing here? What do I need to look at? Can you see the difference there? The intelligence that comes into the equation? It takes us from a mindset that is fixed and brings us into the growth mindset. A fixed mindset is going to stay on the negativity and say, see, this is why I can't. See, this is why I'm stuck. See, all these people around me. See, whereas a growth mindset is saying, well, wait a minute. There's an opportunity to learn here. There's something that I'm missing, and I'm looking for it, and I'm going to find it. It's a key, and it's going to unlock that. And that solution is mine to be had. Do you see the humongous difference? The contrast is stark. And yet, most of us, we fall back into that stuff. We fall back into the negative. We fall back into this habitual negativity that holds us back from living a fully bloomed life. The woman of our dreams is on the other side of habitual negativity. She can't be in full bloom if she's bound up with negativity. So that's number one on that, is learning to calm our own storm. And let me just say this, lest you think I lack empathy, I do not. I know you have storms. I have storms too. And I have certain things that just boom, boom. Yeah, you can press that button. You can get me. But the other day, after I'd written all of this stuff, I had an opportunity to practice this. And can I tell you, I passed the test with flying colors, and I felt completely different about everything because I didn't default to the venting garbage. I didn't default to that. I stayed instead in my power. And my power is this woman that I'm becoming. My power is a woman who's fully bloomed and vibrant. Because in that place, there's so much more that I can do and be. Because my purpose is in the place of being fully bloomed. Fully bloomed means that I am able to help others. I can help myself, my family, my community, my friends, anybody who comes across my path, because I am open to solution at all times. I'm not wrapped up and caught up in the garbage. You see what I mean by all of that? Does that make sense? The other thing is, this is another big deal, and I wrote this one down, because the power comes from the analysis, not the reactionary knee-jerks, right? But you will continue to suffer if you have an emotional reaction to everything that is said to you. Did you hear me? Because how many of us have had this loopy conversation with someone? Maybe a spouse, maybe a friend, maybe a coworker, I don't know. But we have this loopy conversation of they say something that we know is going to go at us, and we react with this emotional effusiveness that benefits no one. You know, goes back to number one of this negativity that we go out to everyone. But do you see here how all of this works together? If we are going to, we're the ones who are going to suffer. Our own words will contain are the containers of the suffering. And when we continue to suffer because we're having an emotional reaction to something, we can choose not to. I just want you to see that, because we can choose not to. And when we choose not to have an emotional reaction, then it puts us in a completely different place, because now there are solutions, there are other options, and we don't have to go like that. Hi, Abigail. You see where I'm going with all of that, right? Because these are the very things that hold us back. And that's why, as we do recreate your life, which, I think we could probably get 10 more people in here. If we could get journals in a week, I would say let's do it. But recreate your life, that's what this is all about. It's making that choice to take on our bodies and to take on our brains and to take on our mindset. And that's what we're doing with these books. That's what we're going to do with this journal. And that's how we're going to meet and have hot seats and really get into the nitty-gritty of all the things. That blows my mind, because it says to me that, no, I don't have to go back to this old stuff. That doesn't have to be the way it works. I can rewrite the script. I can recreate and tell a different story every single time. Emotional reactions oftentimes are very primitive, and they're off the cuff, and it means nothing, because it means oftentimes, a lot of times what happens, and you know this, you've been through this, is, you have to go back and apologize later, or you didn't think things through thoroughly, or there's a whole bunch of stuff that's connected to it that just makes it feel really yucky. But this is the point. It's okay to be lost. It's okay to be lost. When you feel like, oh, I'm not going to say this, and I'm going to hold this back, and I'm going to think about this. I'm going to process this. And then maybe you're walking around. This is true. I was taking a walk. I was like, what am I going to do? I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to, and I felt completely lost. And I felt like I almost utterly abandoned myself. But here's the gig. If you're not lost, you can't be found. And if you are lost in this place of going, what the heck is going on here? Then it's because you're at a new level and a new version of yourself. And it doesn't feel familiar yet. Isn't that the best news yet? Doesn't that just fill your cup? It does mine. It fills my cup to overflowing. You cannot be found until you're lost. And being lost and being in this place of just feeling a little bit uncertain and a little uneasy and a little uncomfortable is the place that things are changing, things are forming, solutions are being sought. The recreation of yourself is in full bloom. So, anyway, I hope that wasn't too rambly. But this is what I'm going to be doing this summer. And it's going to be becoming the woman of your own dreams. There's going to be so much more to it than that. So it's going to be happening in July, and it will be virtual. It will be possibly in person. We'll see. You're going to take a vote on that. And I hope, if that's on your radar and you're interested in coming here to Brevard, North Carolina, and being at my house on my boat with my family, meeting Lincoln, Mark, my daughter. It's this summer. So details to follow coming out next week. But I just wanted to give you a taste of the things that I've been thinking about. And I hope today reinforced some beliefs that you have in yourself and helped you to look at some things you maybe didn't want to look at before. That's what I'm here for. I'm here for you, and I'm here to see you become the woman of your own dreams, fully bloomed, vibrant, here on purpose and for purpose. Because that's why we're here together. That's what I believe anyway. So thank you so much, Catherine, Lynn. I appreciate you both. I appreciate all of you who are here today. If you have any questions, and let me just say this, anybody who's listening, if you want to be a part of the Recreate Your Life journal, we'll see about, I'll check today and see if we can get how quickly we could get some more journals, but we could probably take 10 more. Just saying. So you can email us in to support@savingdinner.com and we'll see what we can do. How's that? Is that fair? I think so. Peace be with you. I appreciate you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining me today. You can find me on TikTok for daily tips to help support your most vibrant life. And remember, you are the author of your own story. Until next time.